I don't know why this is like crooked. Um, I did just test it. I hope I didn't just screw up the mic. But I was just thinking, you know, things are going pretty good for me, at least socially. I have like two friend groups. One that I see like every week that freaking we play the Cyberpunk tabletop game, which is really cool. And and then that combined with I watched one YouTuber I watch all the time, Peebs, um, going back through what he like ate in college. It made me realize just how shitty college living in the dorms was. Because now I do college just online. It's way better. I don't know what I was. Well, I do know what I was thinking. I thought, oh man, I'll be able to make so many friends in college. Oh, maybe I'll even be able to get a relationship or something because I was younger and dumber. I was like mid 20s. The problem is that I didn't realize that there was a generational gap going at the time, and I didn't realize that that was at like the peak of like people being offended at everything. So already, like my roommates were fine. It was kind of weird. I think I've told this before in an old live stream, but I'll just tell it again because not many people have listened to it. Oh, I almost sneezed. Whatever. Um, the first day we get there, everybody's kind of awkward and kind of weird. And one guy's like, well, I might slap your ass. So that's just because I'm bisexual. It's like, okay. I mean, we didn't ask. I don't want you to slap my ass. Um, and then that guy turned out to be like a League of Legends, like a big time player. We'd hear him screaming from his room at his teammates. Classic League of Legends player. But oh, my neck beard's growing back. I better shave that again. Um, anyways, so I had a whole thing with I was trying to find friends. I didn't realize that like I was like what 24, 25, 26, somewhere around there. I didn't realize that 18, 19, 20-year-olds would be that different. But they were. There was some big generational gap. And the biggest things were I went to a animation cartoon club and they all just liked shit like Steven Universe and stuff. I mean, it was mostly women. So they liked Steven Universe and She-Ra, and I absolutely did not give a single shit about those cartoons. I'm more into um, like 90s and 2000s, but I also really love like the 40s and 50s cartoons. They didn't talk about any of that shit. They only cared about like Steven Universe and Hazbin Hotel. And I'm like, this stuff's kind of lame as shit. At least for me. But then all we did was basically play online like Pictionary. It's like what are we doing here? So instead I basically just stood out in the hall like waiting for the animation club the like two or three times I went, just talking to my dad about bands and stuff while he was drunk. So that was pretty funny. Speaking of being drunk, I would sneak in beer to my dorm, which was pretty cool. Um, I even made a whole like contraption out of like styrofoam that I found, and well, not that I found it was like stuff that I had, like from boxes, and then I put like those like freezer cooler things, those ice packs, those chemical blue freezer ice packs, and I would layer them so I could have beer just in my room without it being in a fridge. It was pretty lit. It didn't make them perfectly cold, but it made them cold enough. And then the worst was, and this is what me playing Cyberpunk tabletop with my friends remind me of, which is amazing. I'm having tons of fun. It's really fun. My character keeps using vampires and biting people. It's very fun. One of our friends keeps just launching grenades out of his he has like an arm grenade thing and keeps almost blowing all of us up. It's a lot of fun. Well, the first time that I really tried to play tabletop was I was like, okay, that animation club didn't work. I'll go to the Dungeons and Dragons club, right? It's like, a basic nerd thing. And they were all fucking weird, dude. They were all like, now, you need to get consent if you're in a romantic relationship with another player character. I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense. But then they're like, you need to get consent if you're going to make if you're a GM and you're going, or a DM, I guess it is, a game master, a dungeon master. If you're a dungeon master, which is like the people that control the game, for those of you that don't know. And you're gonna make spider enemies because that upsets and triggers some people. I'm like, what? It's fucking fake. What do you mean? Like, just don't imagine the spider in your head. Doesn't make any fucking sense. And then they were all weird about, like, also make sure that you don't use too bad language. Actually, it's pretty funny. I can't remember if it was the Cartoon Club or the Dungeons and Dragons Club, but there was some girl that just kept shouting, "Is it okay if we use blood? Is it okay if we use blood?" I can't remember if it was in Pictionary or if it was in Dungeons and Dragons, but finally the fucking leader of the club's like, yes, it's fine. That's the thing. We're all adults at this point, right? Like, what? I don't know, man. And so I just went out. And I left early on the second time of the Dungeons and Dragons Club when it was really weird. They kept bringing up all these weird rules and trigger warnings and stuff. And I just like walked out and left. And I just like, it started to rain on my way back to my dorm. I just kind of looked up. It's kind of lame, but like an anime character. And I just looked up and I'm like, man, this is not my generation. With rain pouring on my face and covering my glasses. I'm like, I am not going to find a friend here. And I didn't. Um, it's so much better for me here, in my hometown. I have my dog that I love. I have two different friend groups. One which I see way more frequently, but it is what it is. I still love them all. Um, yeah, it's great. And I'd always wanted to play tabletop ever since high school. And guess what? It was right in my hometown where I can play tabletop. So, yeah, if you should, my recommendation, maybe your personality is different. My recommendation, though, is if you need to do college, oh yeah, the rest of the time I basically just hid in my room and watched like old Japanese pro wrestling on the Internet Archive, and shit like that. But yeah, if you need to do college, I would recommend, especially if you have friends or family back at home that you really like, to just do it online at this point. It's not worth it. You're not going to make any more friends. So that's my advice. That's my schedule, or my schedule. That's my experience with that shit. So is what it is. Maybe things have changed. I mean, that was quite a while ago. That was several years ago. Maybe they're not putting trigger warnings on Dungeons and Dragons, but maybe they are. All my current friends that I play tabletop with don't seem to want to do Dungeons and Dragons, which is fine. Cyberpunk is a lot of freaking fun. So, you know, it is what it is, man.